Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. So this is called Second Esdras, chapter 13. So I just scrolled to get to the point. So this is verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes that were carried away prisoner out their own land in the time of Osei, the king, whom Salzmanar, king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters. And so they came into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go into the further country where never mankind dwelt, right? So these are the Israelites. They broke away from this and they went into a land where nobody ever lived before, right? So I know that our people are already here, right? Just in terms of, this is a belief thing. Now, these right here is where I get kind of broken off. So you see, I know that we were over here, right? But that's not all of us, right? There's still tribes missing, right? Mm-hmm. You heard of Rudolph E. Windsor?
No.
So this book here is called From Babylon to Timbuktu, right? Mm-hmm. By Rudolph E. Windsor. If you go to page 84, right, I'll just articulate it. It says that 1 million black Jews were dispelled from Israel and traded through the Trans-Saharan to the west coast of Africa, right? Because we all didn't come over here. So when I look at the slave routes and trades here, these people along this coast were dropped off in all these places. Because you see, I understand your premise and I agree, right? But I know that wasn't everybody. So they came from the west coast here. Like one of these ports is called the Port of Judah, as an example, and dropped to all these different places. Mm-hmm. But it's the same people. And so I'm just wondering, why are we calling people like a tether or something when we have a lot of the same roots? This, and I'm just looking at the slave routes, the slave trade, right? And then when you go here, this is the AI overview. DNA between Bantu and African Americans, right? I just took the screenshot. We can Google this. According to genetic studies, African Americans share a significant portion of their DNA with Bantu population, indicating a substantial contribution from the Bantu migration across from Africa, with many African Americans displaying noticeable Bantu signatures in their genetic makeup. So basically saying our chromosomes are, if not the same, very much alike. Bantu would include Igbo as an example. That's like the most, I'll just use that one because that's the most popular one. You heard of that one, right? In terms of Nigerians. And there's a bunch of Bantu tribes, right? But Bantu would be like overarching, and then it covers the rest. Like Igbo would be under it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. You know? And then I looked at what people went through. So this is Haiti here. And you see the numbers, 200,000 Haitians dead, 75,000 French, white colonists that lived there, 25,000, British, 45,000. But it's essentially the Haitian revolt for independence. And I liken that to these people from the coast getting dropped off. We came over here. I would assume we didn't just all stay in the same place, you know? And they went through a series of getting out from under white people in terms of slavery as well. When I look at Jamaica, now this is the Baptist War, right? Mm-hmm. I just kind of like this one. This one popped from December 1831 to January 1832. It was unsuccessful, but it started the push for Jamaica getting their independence. In the same way, they got it popping. You know what I'm saying? To get their independence. Just like we had to, in different ways, you know. Mm-hmm. We have Denmark Vesey, Gabriel Proctor, and who's the most popular? Nat Turner. You know, so they were doing the same shit. These niggas got it popping. They lost, just like we lost those revolts, but it started that engine, along with, you know, people having to come to that conclusion that, okay, slavery is not what we want to do anymore, right? In terms of the people who owned us, right? So I'm just looking at all the similarities. And then one last thing, there's a book here. Let me show you this. So this one, and I think you may like this book if you ever get a chance to read it. It's called The American Holocaust. So I have it here, but I was trying to find the excerpt. Remember, I was trying to find it, but I couldn't find it. So I just did what you said and Googled it, right? Because I could not find it. I read this book so long ago. But you know, the island of Hispaniola, which is the DR in Haiti, had 8 million people on it before Columbus came. And then they after he was done, it was damn near desolate in terms of numbers. So I'm just looking at all the shit that these people went through, and they in North America, right? And they were here. So they probably related to us, considering that we had a portion of people who were here. They could have very well been there, right? Because they had boats and everything. And I'm just looking at the term, and I'm just like, damn, all this shit, and we fighting over like if you in America or not, and we have a lot of relational points. So I don't know. That's just things I was kind of looking at when I was assessing the topic.
Okay, I understand that because I think that's a big point of contention. Okay, so the point of contention is, the Black Americans lead whatever for Black people. We are the top dog, right? Within you know, the truth, it would be Judah is the lead of this, right? So within that, FBA doesn't feels like Jamaica is old. They feel like the Haitians are old. They feel like the Dominicans are old to their colonizers, and they need to make sure that their land is properly given back to them, because the people who are leading this movement, this FBA movement, or this movement of trying to teach us how this whole story of how slavery happened is a lie, is that they didn't bring the Haitians over here. When they hit the island, the Haitians was already there. The Haitians didn't revolt to get land that wasn't theirs. And of course, the story of the Haitians is so beautiful because they did the same thing, right? They was similar, but we're in New Orleans. We understand, right? That they gave them Christianity, and they were enslaved. And it was a woman. They went to a woman, a lady. She was kind of like a very spiritual lady. She did like you know, one of those spiritual things or whatever, right? And she basically let her people know that you have to let go of your false idols. You have to let go your white gods. You have to let go of their belief system. And you got to remember who you are. And that's how they won. You see what I'm saying? So that revolt is scary for anybody. But what did the Haitians do? The Haitians went to coming over here trying to teach everybody, yo, you are not, this is your shit. Okay. This your shit. The Haitians came through New Orleans telling people this is your shit. When you think about Chicago, you know who founded Chicago? A Haitian man. Founded that area. So it's like they went to coming over here to let us know, like, no, it's not, no, they just brought a bunch of us over here. We was already over here. They knew we was over here. They came over here fucking with us. Yeah. So that's what it is. So I don't think it's that Black Americans have a problem with Jamaicans or have a problem with especially any of the Americans, right? Because like I'm saying, like we're all American when it comes to us over here. And we don't have a problem with each other. We have a problem when you come over here and you want to look down on us.
Jean Baptiste, Haitian man to Chicago. Sorry, go ahead. I was just thinking of do it. Go ahead, my bad.
Oh no, I agree. No, I'm saying like, so it's not that, you know what I'm saying? But it gets to a point where if y'all are not going to help us, then let us know so we can stand against you. Because we're on the land that we're trying to have our revolt on. But if we're into somebody else's traditions, we're reading somebody else's story, we're letting other people tell us who we are. Yeah. But why would they tell us who we are?
Yeah, no, 100%. I understand that. And there's a lot of credence. Like if you look at in terms of being here, right? You know that Columbus had Hebrew speaking Moors on those boats and ships, and they were able to communicate better.
Because the Moors was already here, right? So Moors taught Columbus how to get here. This whole lie, like he just fumbled his way over here, was bullshit.
Yeah, I just wonder why he called them Indians though.
He called them Indians because of the feathers, but they say he was calling them Indians because
He
he
thought he
thought
was
he was
in.
taking a trip to India.
Yeah. So and I think I'm not so focused on like how I just know when they were trying to speak, they were able to communicate. Also, if you heard of the Las Lunas stone, it's the 10 Commandments that were found in, I think it's like Mexico or near like the border of New Mexico, right? So there's definitely connections,
Or even this book. You ever heard of this book?
Yeah.
Okay, so even within that, right, they're saying that the story of like trying to debunk the out of Africa theory is that well before Columbus was here, there were people praising big black Buddha heads. Why? Because I could understand, like, Buddha heads are people's deities. Why were they deifying people with black features in this part of the country if black people only got here through Christopher Columbus?
Yeah.
Or melanated people only got here.
Do you think people are saying that none of us were here? You think that's the overarching sentiment? Okay.
They're feeling like we don't have no claims to the lands because we're just slaves. So it wasn't our land; it was the Native Americans' land. So the Native Americans are the $5 Indians. That's been exposed. How white people was able to pay $5 to get their rights. We understand how Native Americans have certain rights to the land, have certain tax properties, even though they be doing them in too, and things like that. People will say, okay, they have certain things because this was their land, but then at the end of the day, they still lost. So, but they're gonna take away the fact they go all the way back in time to see how many times they changed our names, right? And then just trying to make it seem the one drop rule, because we was mating at the time, right? So even when the Africans got over here, we was mating with them. So now it's, if you have one piece of African drop of blood in you are African. So it takes away your claim to the lands. Like, we're the prisoners of war and this is our land. And if anybody's not trying to be on that accord to understand so that we can claim the rights to our land back or do what we need to do, it's like, you're against us, so stand over there.
Okay. No, I understand the premise. I have an anecdotal experience that really, it could mean nothing, right? But I DJ'd a party in Idaho on a reservation. And it was surprising to me, maybe not, how many black people lived on that plantation. If it was 100 people, on that reservation, if it was 100 people on that reservation, I would say 30 of them were black, just to give you like the percentage. It was just something that just stuck out to me. And it could just be that one. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been on a bunch aside from going to a casino or something. But it was a lot of black and so-called Native American people that were either had blended families or lived there, grew up, et cetera, et cetera. So it was something interesting that I had an experience with. But again, it's anecdotal, right? It could mean nothing.
Even within the freeing, like, they don't talk about the Gullah Geechee Wars. They don't talk about the Gullah Geechee Wars. They don't talk about how much we really did fight for our freedom, how much we was really kicking ass and taking names. They don't want to put that in the history books, right? But when we're letting them, when we're believing in their religions and we're allowing them to teach our kids, it's easy to whitewash us. You understand what I'm saying? Revisionist history is a murder. Like, I seen somebody telling a different story about Fight Club, and I was like, this is how Jesus became white. All you got to do is let a couple of people lie and switch some shit around, and Jesus become a whole white man.
Yeah, I think I'm looking, right. Well, we'll see.
But
because I don't know if I think it's being missed a little bit that tether isn't the country you come from, right? You become a tether in a derogatory form when you come from a different country, look like the people that are of the country, and
you
then
assimilate into American culture, basically,
and then downplay those people that look like you. Right. But if you just over here grinding, like my friends I grew up with, if you just grinding and I think your food sucks and you think my food sucks, but we hang, you know what I mean? That ain't it, right?
But when you're loud and proud about black people are lazy, y'all have never accomplished nothing. Y'all should be grateful that America even allows you to be like, oh, y'all ain't never built nothing. Y'all ain't never you're talking out, when you start talking out your ass, it looks like you're an op. You're an immigrant op. So I guess that's what tether means in a ghetto term. To break it down, it would just be like if you're an immigrant op.
Okay, so you the ops when you got so much to say, and then you know what I mean? Damn.
See, because New Orleans is different. New Orleans is a very one of the oldest cities in this country. We wasn't a part of this country for a very long time. The original New Orleans is called Bambocha, which means lands of many tongues. It was always a vibrant place because it was on the coast of things. Everybody came there. It was a bunch of different people always mixing there. We warred for a very long time with the Spanish and with the French. Consistently, they could not beat our natives because they were people who lived in the water, right? They didn't care. They would burn the land down and survive in the water because that was just who they was. Eventually, they let our natives go into the coast of things like that. Slaves were brought over here because they couldn't get the natives to do the work. So they did bring some African slaves over here, and we still made it with them. We have Congo Square where the slaves were free on Sundays, so they was able to come. And because they looked like us, of course, we would come out, we would dance with them, they would mate with them, we would even put them in feathers, hide them, and assimilate it within one culture of everything. This still exists today. Every Sunday, we meet at the same place and we play African drums. We dress in feathers to represent the Indians, and we parade in the streets every Sunday. This is still our culture. This is still who we are. The stories of who we are is within the soils of of our land, and our culture is very still much intact. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of times people say New Orleans is not a real place, so this and this. It is because we're not that whitewashed away from what our culture is. You know, so I think people need to take that very much into consideration.
Okay. Perfect. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. I think I'm gonna drop this link. I think we're able to mine it decently. I think the differentiation is clear. So it's definitely not everybody who looks like us that comes over here. It's everybody who looks like us and got something negative to say that comes over here.
And the crazy thing about it is that they have like a native tribe that looks just like me and my grandma. They have another native tribe that looks just like Granville and his family. Like the native tribes in New Orleans are, they look like us. The high cheekbones, it never left. The phenotypes of our face, it never left. And they look just like these people. You can still go in the 7-1. We still have chiefs, right? We have our big chiefs. We have St. Joseph Night. On Mardi Gras, it's a big event for the tourists, but what's bigger is all the chiefs of the neighborhoods dressed up in their big feathers, and they go underneath the bridge, and we go celebrate underneath the bridge. So, and they walk from their neighborhood all into one meeting ground, the uptown, the downtown. We have Super Sundays where we have our big chiefs from uptown, our big chiefs from downtown who come, and they handcraft and sew their feathers together each year, and every year the culture is still so much more intact. So it's like, I would just think that it would be beautiful for everybody to find their roots, their American roots, and be able to be proud to say, you know, more than I'm black, I'm an American. This is my land. That's my nationality. I'm American.
Yeah. No, I think it's, you know, that's a unique privilege that New Orleans has, you know. That's definitely a unique privilege.